All right, everybody. Welcome back. Okay, I'm going to do a series review. Um, Law and Order Special Victims Unit. I'm going to have to say I've watched all 22 seasons, and I am pretty sure I haven't talked about this show. But I got yet. I'm about to fix it. I've seen, like I just said, I've seen all 22 seasons. Not all in one go. Okay, I mean, I've like went in both Peacock and NBC and I think it's on Netflix, maybe. But I've gone through over I think it took me, actually, yeah, it was on Netflix. And I've sat down over a course of I'd say, what, took me 3 months or 4, me not watching them all. I'd watch an episode or two a night and then turn it off. An episode, sometimes I'd watch 2 or 3. Sometimes I'd fall asleep watching one. Did that yesterday, as a matter of fact. But there's a couple of things I want to talk about. Mainly, I love Mariska Hargitay. I love that woman. Not that I'm a lesbian or anything, but I absolutely love her as an actress. I think she is just a wonderful person. I love what she represents, and I love Olivia Benson as a character. I mean, it's just, I absolutely, unconditionally love that character because she just, I know she's made mistakes and she's been wrong. In the first episode of the show, the very, very first episode, season 1, episode 1, Elliot tells her you can't pick the Vic. And if you take yourself off this case, you're taking yourself out of the unit. And Elliot, I have to give, Elliot Stabler was played by my honey, Chris Maloney, who, my husband knows what I think of that man. I've seen him naked, okay? I watched True Blood, and he has a nice ass, okay? Excuse my language, but that man has a nice ass. A very nice ass. I mean, and he gets naked in True Blood, and I'm like, oh. Yeah, I think I've talked about him in True Blood and about how my husband had to practically change the channel to get me to pay attention to him. I mean, he was like, okay over there. I mean, that was right up there with me having a drooling problem with Antonio Banderas and Interview with a Vampire. I mean, it was all but yeah, what ended up happening through the course of the first 12 seasons of Special Vicks, is what I call it. And Elliot's wife said this to Olivia. I think her name was Melissa. She told Olivia that she's Elliot's wife, but Olivia is Elliot's work wife. And when Elliot was getting divorced from his real wife, Melissa, he was real upset about that. And Melissa went to Olivia and said, I need you to keep an eye on him and keep him straight and everything. And it's just the two women just really were thick with each other, and Elliot depended on both of them. There's the one episode where Melissa has their youngest child, the little boy. Oh my god, that was just such a hard episode to watch. Because what happens is Olivia's taken Melissa to the doctor, and a drunk driver hits them on Melissa's side of the car and pins Melissa in the car. And Olivia has to help keep her immobile so she doesn't hurt herself or the baby. And, the firemen are doing their best to get her out. And she goes into labor, and Liv has to help deliver the baby. And in the back of the ambulance, and it's just, Melissa almost doesn't make it. She goes into shock after she has the baby, and it's just, it's like the hardest. That's like the hardest scene. It's like, Elliot beating the crap out of some perp. Him slapping around. Who was it that he slapped around? He slapped around a lot of perps. It's just funny. One of my other favorite characters on that show, two other favorite characters, is Richard Belzer's character, John Munch. That man is funny. And then he gets paired with Odafin Tutuola, who's played by Ice-T. And I love Ice-T. And there's one thing, and I have to talk about irony here, okay? Irony. Ice-T is in one of my favorite movies. And not as himself, okay? Ice-T is in the movie Tank Girl. Okay? And he's also in Law & Order Special Victims. I have to point this out while I'm talking about Law & Order Special Victims. I can't remember offhand if I mentioned this in my movie review of Tank Girl. But here's the thing. Ice-T, if you know who he is, he's a rapper that talked about cop killer, or something like that. Like, being all Mr. Bad and everything. And then he's now playing a detective. Okay? And in the movie Tank Girl, he's a ripper and he's reincarnated. Okay? And Tank Girl says to him, "What did you used to be?" And he's like, "A cop." And I'm like, yeah, now you know what happened to Odafin Tutuola. He died and came back as a ripper. Which now you know what happened to him. He gets killed and comes back as a ripper. Which is, I have to point that out because I'm talking about special victims because, that's like the funny part. One of the things is I had, and I have to talk about this. When I know why Chris Maloney left the show. Okay, like I said, first 12 seasons, Elliot and Liv were like this. It's like they were like Elliot's wife said. Liv and Elliot were like this and like practically a married couple. And, it's one of those things. Between season 12 and 13, they re-upped their contracts and stuff. And I know what happened. Mariska Hargitay got what she wanted. But Chris Maloney did not get what he wanted, so he left the show. And at the end of season 12, like, he ends up shooting and killing a victim who had turned perp and shot a nun. Just shot the nun, Sister Peg, and killed her. I'm surprised I remember that. And that's been like forever ago. That's been like what? 2005 maybe. So it's been, 15, 16 years. It's been a minute. But, I don't know who was more salty about Elliot leaving, me or Liv. I was pissed. I was really salty when I found out Elliot wasn't going to be back. I was so salty about that. I was like, I'm like, can't they fix that? I'm like, they can fix that crap. Get him back on there. Well, actually, and this has come from him being gone for what? Let's see. What, 9 seasons now, basically? Almost 10 years. For basically 10 years, so it wasn't 2005. So it's 2020. He's been gone since, like 07? Maybe 08, something in that neighborhood. Actually, it ends up being a good thing because it allowed Olivia's character to grow and develop. Nick Amaro, who started um, in season 13 as Liv's new partner. He ended up being almost like Elliot by the end of his run with her. I just wish now that they would bring more people on the show, and I'll get to the new detectives in a minute. You know, one of my favorite characters two favorite characters on this show now, newer characters, is Carisi. I absolutely think Carisi is just a nut. And then Kelly Guinness's character, Amanda. One of my favorite things is, and this is the irony of it, Amanda's sister is played by the girl that is in True Blood as the Werepanther, Crystal. And that's the character's name on Special Victims, is Crystal, too. 2 as in also, not the number 2. But, you know, it's just that whole thing between Amanda and Crystal. Oh my God, it's just, I mean, I felt bad for Amanda. And it's just, I understand with Carisi, excuse me, going on to after Peter Winchester's character left because of what happened with that, and this happened in the end of season 19, I think, or 20. He helped get that one fella arrested, the that real pervy fella, I forget. But yeah, it just, he just really, had to walk away and stuff. I'll tell you what, one thing, and this is something I know I haven't mentioned yet, is, and I'm glad they got Elliot off the show for when William Lewis was on there. William Lewis is the character that kidnapped and tortured and hurt Liv real bad. Like at the end of season, it's either 13 and 14 or 14 and 15. I think it was 13 and 14. And then it was like a malingering issue after that. And oh my God, it's just, I just had like the worst time with that. And I know it was hard to watch. Because Liv, if I'd been Liv, I would have just blown that man's brains out and called it a day. Especially, after what he put me through. If I'd been in her shoes, not that I'm promoting violence or anything, but if it had been me, I'd have been like, screw this. I'd have beat him in the head with the pipe and then just, either I would have just kept going and beat his brains out, or just blown him out. Got the gun and blown his brains out. I mean, it's just, after what he put her through, I would have understood if she'd got a gun and just blown his brains out. I mean, I think most people felt that way. I mean, and it's just, like I said, I'm not promoting violence, but I could understand if she had a psychiatric break and snapped and just went on around the bend with that one. I was surprised when she pulled back, to be honest. I was like, and let him live. I mean, it's just, I don't know if I could have done that, to be honest. I mean, it's like, if after everything that William Lewis put her through, if, she didn't beat his brains out or blown him out with their gun, I have to say I'm surprised. I mean, I really am. This is why I like Liv so much. She's, it's like, I don't know what I would have done in her shoes, but like I said, I would either have kept going. I would have killed him probably if I'd been in her shoes, but I don't know. And I don't want to know. That's the other thing. I hope to God I never end up in a situation like that. But that's why I like her so much, is like things happen to her and it's like it makes you stop and think. about that. Like, what would you do if you were in that spot? I mean, I talked about it and I said, oh God, I hope I never am in a spot like that. Ever. The one thing that I do like about Liv is she adopted that little boy, Noah Porter. She found him in a meth or a drug house. I think it was a drug house. And it's just everything that poor little boy went through the first 3 years of his life. One thing that upset me real bad when he was 1 or 2 years old, and she was in the process of adopting him. I can't remember, she either had just adopted him or was in the process of adopting him. No, she had just adopted him. That's what it was. She had just adopted him, and he ends up getting not MRSA. He ended up getting the flu or something. Strep throat or something, some real bad lung illness, strep throat or pneumonia or something, and it almost killed him, the poor thing. And what it was is he ended up catching it off the little brother of one of the kids at the high school she was investigating. And the little boy that Noah caught the stuff from, that other little boy's mom was an anti-vaxxer. And I could tell that made me mad. It's like the anti-vaxxer was like, oh, well, now you'll never have to worry about, him getting it again and whatever. It's like, you could have killed I've been like, bitch, you almost killed my kid. It's just... it's just, Liv was just fighting mad with her little boy. That had to have been hard, to watch. The one thing that I was talking about in the last video that I almost said there, is in the last season, it was kind of like the Jeffrey Epstein thing that happened. And I remember this, in addition to watching Jeopardy. Like I said before, I was in the hospital watching it, and I'd been waiting months for that freaking episode, and it came on, and I was boiling mad. I remember sitting in the hospital talking to my nurse. I said, I'm sorry, I was hollering. I just was so peeved by that movie or TV show that how the guy ended up hanging himself. I was like, he took the chicken shit way out and hung himself with the sheets, man. I said he could have helped a lot, fixed a lot of stuff, manned up and took responsibility for his misdeeds and been a man about it. To make matters worse, he committed suicide. I go, he's a chicken. Oh my God, But yeah, it just really peeved me off to no end on that one. Now they're going into their 22nd season. Yeah. Yay. I happen to love this show. What's amazing is guess who's coming back, or allegedly is coming back to start in a new SVU, my foot, Law and Order, is Elliot Stabler, or so I'm told. The new season starts on Thursday, which is, seeing that it's going on 1 o'clock in the morning here, it's in 2 days, basically. There's another new character on SVU. I almost forgot her. Her name is Kat, K-A-T. I like her. She reminds me a lot of Liv back in season 1, and I've actually talked about it on Facebook about Kat reminds me of Liv when Liv from season 1, from back in 1999. So, it's like 20, this is Liv 20 years ago. She'll get better. And Kat has gotten better. One of my favorite things, Carisi has left the department, And going on, as I mentioned before, to, the DA's office after Philip Winchester's character left. And he's now the ADA for sex crimes. Kat told him off. She's like, I thought you were supposed to help us. And she's like, yeah, you have the suit of the lawyer and cop shoes or something like that. It was funny. Well, I hope that what they said was true, and I'm looking forward to seeing this new season. Anyway, I'm sorry I've blabbed on, but 22 seasons is a lot to squeeze into a little bit of time. Anyway, thank you for watching. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear your face mask, and have a good night. And keep an eye out for my new videos. Bye.